Good morning, I'm QUAN, and this is I Have No Cut Cards Tarot, and I'm going to do a collective reading for you this morning. Now, I was guided this morning to use the Witch's Wisdom Tarot, okay? By now, hopefully no one is still triggered by the word witch. As we all know, the English language is a bastardized language, and there were many languages that came before, starting with ancient African languages, which were actually the first. And the Disney version of the word witch kind of blinds you if you're still stuck in your mind or in a 3D mindset to understanding that all a witch is actually is a healer. It's someone that understands the workings of energy inside and outside the body. You know, they understand plants and herbs and how they're used and things of that nature. The same thing doctors kind of do. And, you know, they have gone to indigenous peoples all over the world, South America, Africa, East India, you know, to study under healers. The people that they later turned around and gave this stigma called a witch to. So just to put that out there. So the first card that jumped out my hand this morning was the Ancestor card. Okay, this is an ancestor. This is an ancestor. She looks like she's out, you know, pruning and pulling plants, just like I was talking a little while ago. She looks like she might be one of these healers, someone that has ancient knowledge, ancient history about your family, your roots, going back, you know, as far, you know, as, you know, generations and generations into your past. And she holds a lot of secrets that can guide and help you. You may not be, and now she came in reverse, that's why, okay. She came in reverse, okay? And that's because some of you are not talking to your ancestors, and some of you are not consulting your ancestors for help to find out, you know, why you're going through what you're going through. Some of you don't have altars. Some of you are not connected to your ancestors. And it's something that you may need to do to find out some of the secrets, you know, in your family that are binding you to certain patterns, that are binding you to repetitious behavior and people in your life that have done the same things generationally. Okay? Now, interestingly enough, when I read up on this ancestor card, two things were specifically drawn to my attention, and it's just these simple lines, and I know this has to do with the reading. There's a blessing in the family curse, okay? There is a blessing in the family curse. Now they're giving me the story of Jesus in the Bible, being the Lamb of God. What did Jesus do? He died for the sins of the world. Now this is just according to the Bible, okay? We understand and understand better than that, but he was supposed to bring justice to his bloodline. He was supposed to cleanse his bloodline of their karmic debt. And going back to, in his bloodline, King David, who committed an atrocity, by stealing, he wanted to steal another man's wife. So he had this man put in the forefront of a battle so that he would be killed first, so he could have access to his wife. And not going too deep into that Bible story, because I know everyone is not familiar with the Bible. There are many other religions out there, but his bloodline was cursed that the sword would never leave his bloodline because of what he did. So Jesus was supposed to have come generations later and was supposed to be the sacrificial lamb, that went through his karma first, based on what his bloodline, people in his bloodline had done, and he had to be sacrificed. And he had to clear up the karma for his bloodline. Now they changed it to where, Jesus is this idol, that died for the sins of the whole world, but it's not quite like that. Jesus is a plagiarized story, just like the story of Siddhartha and the story of Krishna. It's a plagiarized story that comes from ancient Egypt, or Kemet, of Isis, Osiris, and Heru, okay? The masculine principle, the feminine principle, and the child, okay? So the chosen ones, the ones that were chosen in this lifetime to ascend to a higher state of consciousness, a lot of you were chosen to clear up past karma and transgressions of your bloodline. Now, don't get me wrong. Every single bloodline is tainted that is born into this 3D, because you are born into this 3D existence in order to go through trials and tribulations to raise your consciousness and raise your vibration. So ultimately, you can bypass this earthly living in this animal body that we're in, this animal existence in where you're shitting, you have to eat, to stay alive, you have to kill to make clothing, fur, to stay warm, you know what I mean? To raise to a higher existence, a higher spiritual existence, because you are a spiritual being having a human experience. And I should say having an animal experience, because basically you're like an animal in a human body, because these human bodies aren't that different or far off genetically from the animals, okay? So, the same way Jesus was to clear the past karma from his bloodline, because he was destined in his lifetime, because of being reincarnated so many times, it was